Why Greenland has become one of the most important places on Earth. U.S. President Donald Trump has once again drawn global attention to Greenland, reopening a debate that many believed belonged to the past. But this time, the conversation feels different, more serious, more urgent, and far more consequential for the future of global power. Good day! This is a global analysis. At first glance, Greenland may seem like an unlikely source of international tension. It is vast, icy, sparsely populated, and geographically remote. Yet beneath this quiet exterior lies one of the most strategically important territories on the planet. To understand why Greenland matters so much today, we need to take a step back. Greenland is officially part of the Kingdom of Denmark, but it operates with extensive self-governance. Its population is just over 50,000 people, yet its landmass is enormous, making it the largest island in the world. More importantly, Greenland sits at the crossroads of North America, Europe, and the Arctic. This location alone gives it extraordinary strategic value. For decades, the Arctic was seen as a frozen buffer zone, distant, symbolic, and largely irrelevant to everyday geopolitics. That perception is now obsolete. Climate change is rapidly reshaping the region. Ice is melting. Shipping lanes are opening. Resources that were once unreachable are becoming accessible. And where accessibility increases, competition follows. From a military perspective, Greenland is already critical. The United States operates key radar and surveillance systems on the island, designed to detect missile threats and monitor airspace across the Northern Hemisphere. These systems are not optional. They are foundational to U.S. and NATO defense architecture. As global tensions rise and missile technology advances, early warning systems become even more valuable. Greenland's geography makes it uniquely suited for this role. No other territory offers the same combination of proximity, coverage, and strategic positioning. But military considerations are only one piece of the puzzle. Greenland is also believed to hold significant reserves of rare earth elements and critical minerals. These materials are essential for modern economies. They power electric vehicles, renewable energy systems, smartphones, advanced weapons, and artificial intelligence infrastructure. Control over these resources is no longer just an economic advantage. It is a matter of national security. At present, global supply chains for critical minerals are fragile and heavily concentrated. Many Western governments are increasingly concerned about dependence on rival powers. In this context, Greenland represents not just potential wealth, but strategic independence. President Trump's renewed focus on Greenland fits within a broader pattern. His administration has consistently emphasized control. Control over borders, control over resources, control over strategic regions. Whether in energy policy, trade negotiations, or military positioning, the underlying logic remains the same. From this perspective, Greenland is not an anomaly. It is a logical extension of a worldview that prioritizes hard power, leverage, and strategic dominance. Supporters argue that this approach is realistic. They claim that global politics has entered a more competitive, less cooperative era. In such a world, securing key assets is not aggression, it is survival. Critics, however, see a different picture. They warn that framing allies' territories as strategic prizes risks undermining trust and destabilizing long-standing partnerships. Denmark is not a rival state. It is a NATO ally. Greenland's people are not a geopolitical tool. They are a community with their own identity, culture, and political aspirations. This tension between strategic logic and diplomatic norms lies at the heart of the controversy. European reactions to Trump's statements have been swift and firm. Leaders across the continent have emphasized that Greenland is not for sale, and that any attempt to alter its status would violate international law. More importantly, they warn that such rhetoric could weaken NATO from within. NATO is not simply a military alliance. It is a political agreement built on mutual respect for sovereignty and borders. Once those principles are questioned, the entire structure becomes vulnerable. For Europe, this is not just about Greenland, it is about precedent. If the status of one territory can be openly challenged, what does that mean for others? What does it signal to rival powers watching closely from the outside? And those rival powers are indeed watching. Russia has significantly increased its Arctic presence over the past decade. It has reopened military bases, expanded naval patrols, and invested heavily in Arctic infrastructure. For Moscow, the Arctic is both a defensive buffer and an economic opportunity. China, meanwhile, has taken a quieter but equally strategic approach. By declaring itself a near-Arctic state, China has positioned itself as a long-term stakeholder in the region. Through investments, research initiatives, and shipping partnerships, Beijing is laying groundwork for future influence. In this context, Greenland becomes a focal point in a much larger global contest. It is not about ownership alone. It is about access, influence, and long-term positioning. Yet amid all this strategic calculation, the voices of Greenland's own people risk being overshadowed. Greenlanders have long debated their future, including questions of greater autonomy and eventual independence. For many, international attention brings both opportunity and anxiety. Economic investment could improve infrastructure, create jobs, and reduce dependence on external subsidies. At the same time, there is deep concern about environmental damage, cultural erosion, and loss of political control. These are not abstract fears. They are lived realities for communities already facing the impacts of climate change at an accelerated pace. Any discussion about Greenland's future that excludes its people is fundamentally incomplete. What makes this situation particularly significant is what it reveals about the current state of global politics. The post-Cold War era, defined by assumptions of cooperation and integration, is fading. In its place, a more fragmented and competitive order is emerging. In this world, geography matters again. Resources matter again. Strategic choke points matter again. Greenland is not important because of what it is today, but because of what it may become tomorrow. That is why this debate feels different from past discussions. It is not theoretical, it is forward-looking. So what happens next? For now, no formal actions have been announced. Diplomatic channels remain open. Public statements are carefully worded. But beneath the surface, strategic calculations are ongoing. Whether Greenland becomes a point of cooperation or confrontation will depend on choices made in the coming years, not just by the United States, but by Europe, Russia, China, and Greenland itself. One thing is clear: Greenland is no longer a remote island on the edge of the map. It has become a symbol of a changing world, a world where power, resources, and geography are once again tightly intertwined. And as global competition intensifies, places once ignored may soon find themselves at the very center of history. We will continue to follow this story closely,